The theme of this conference is We Preach Christ, and I was asked to address the issue of Christ and the responsibility of the church to the culture. It's very interesting when you think about this because we really only ask this question when we have to. When Christians feel unthreatened by the culture, when we feel very much at home in the culture, when we feel that the culture is friendly to us, we really don't ask these questions. So you look at the history of the Christian church, and this question has been most often asked in a context of controversy, in a time of crisis. It's Augustine who raises this question when the Roman Empire is falling, and that's when he writes The City of God. And then we come to understand we're really asking this question now because we newly feel at odds with the culture around us. We feel this increasing angularity. We even detect what we believe to be an increasing hostility coming from the culture around us. And it's not something that just happened in the year 2017. It's something that really has been growing in Western societies, at least for the last 125 to 150 years. And thus we should not be surprised that Christians have begun asking questions about how in the world the church is to engage the culture. We're also at enough distance from this, we can see that there have been plenty of wrong answers to that question. There are those who have suggested that there's absolutely no Christian responsibility to the culture. Well, that doesn't work. And there are those who have denied that culture has any impact on our ministry. And that's clearly not true. And in other words, a part of being human beings embedded in a culture, a part of being Christians embedded in a culture, is that we recognize language is important. You know, even as you look around this group, there's a certain signal that is being sent. Someone looking at this picture would have a pretty good idea of the fact that this is coming from North America or somewhere in Europe. Even the way we dress, the language we use. This is why in missions, one of our earliest ambitions is to translate the scriptures into another language, because culture is important. But the greater danger to evangelicals in this generation is that they will believe that culture is too important. And I think the great danger right now is that too many evangelicals feel like if we are just clever enough, if we are just sophisticated enough, then we can make peace with this culture and be fully at home. And I just want to remind you that that is profoundly at odds with Scripture. And it has been profoundly at odds with Scripture since Jesus spoke to his own disciples. We're going to be looking at this text from John chapter 15. And we need to understand that there are multiple temptations that come to Christians, and right now we detect multiple temptations that come to evangelical Christians, but one of the greatest of these temptations is somehow to believe that we can be at peace with the society around us, that we can be at peace with the culture, and the culture at peace with us. And the other is the assumption that somehow we can look at the culture as if it is neutral. This myth of neutrality is something that we need to confess and we need to deny ourselves. The culture is not neutral. It never has been.